So we're diving deep into Tesla Superchargers today.
Ooh, fun.
You might be thinking like, okay, charging stations,
Yeah.
not exactly, super exciting stuff.
Right.
Hold on, because this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Because you see, electric cars are awesome,
Yes.
but that whole like running out of juice thing
Yeah.
can be a real bummer,
Totally.
especially on like longer trips.
Right.
That's where superchargers come in.
Okay.
And they're not your average, plug in the wall situation.
Interesting.
We're talking getting up to 80% charged
Wow.
in like 45 minutes.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's right. Like imagine grabbing a quick lunch
Okay.
and coming back to a practically full battery.
That's incredible. And it's really fascinating to me
Yeah.
how this kind of speed and convenience
Right.
is totally changing the game for EV owners.
For sure.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
90% of Tesla owners
Wow.
rely on superchargers for long trips. That's a pretty clear sign that these things are more than just a novelty.
Yeah.
They're becoming like a crucial part of electric car travel.
Absolutely. So let's break it down like what makes these superchargers so special?
Okay.
What's the secret sauce here?
Yeah. What are they and how do they work their magic?
Right.
Well, at their core, superchargers are like specialized fast charging stations.
Okay.
Designed just for Tesla vehicles.
Okay.
It's like they're the VIP lounge of EV charging,
Right.
offering this unique connector and a way higher power output
Okay.
than your typical home charger.
Right.
We're talking up to 250 kilowatts.
Okay. 250 kilowatts.
Yeah.
That sounds impressive, but could you break that down for me?
Sure.
What does that actually mean for someone behind the wheel?
Think of it this way.
Okay.
It's like the difference between trying to fill a swimming pool with a garden hose versus a fire hose.
Gotcha.
That higher power output allows those superchargers to deliver energy to the car's battery at a much faster rate.
Right.
So it drastically cuts down those charging times.
Okay. I get it now.
Yeah.
So that's how they manage to get a full charge
Right.
in the time it takes to grab a coffee or something. But I'm curious, if these superchargers are so powerful,
Yeah.
wouldn't that put a ton of stress on the car's battery?
That's a great question and a common concern.
Okay.
But Tesla has engineered its batteries to handle these super high charging rates safely.
Okay.
They've built in these sophisticated thermal management systems
Interesting.
that keep the battery at the perfect temperature during charging.
So it doesn't overheat.
Exactly. Preventing overheating and making sure that battery lasts a long time.
That's reassuring.
Yeah.
It's like they've thought of everything
They have.
to make this charging process both fast and safe.
Yeah, they've really optimized the technology to create a seamless and efficient experience for Tesla owners.
Speaking of seamless, you mentioned superchargers have this unique connector.
Right.
What's the deal with that?
Yeah.
Why not just use a standard connector like other EVs do?
Well, Tesla's choice to go with a proprietary connector, at least in some areas, was partly strategic, allowing them to control that charging experience and make sure it works perfectly with their vehicles.
Makes sense.
But it also had to do with needing a connector that could handle that crazy high power output of the superchargers.
Oh, okay. So it's not just about being different.
No.
It's about using the right tool for the job.
Exactly. It's like trying to plug a high-powered appliance into a standard household outlet. It just wouldn't work.
Nope.
The connector needs to be able to handle that flow of energy.
Right. Okay. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that superchargers are strategically placed.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? Are they just randomly scattered across the country?
Not at all.
Okay.
Tesla has put a lot of thought into where they put their supercharger stations.
Okay.
Aiming to build a network that's both convenient and comprehensive.
Right.
They're strategically placed along major highways and travel routes.
Makes sense.
Ensuring that Tesla owners can easily go on those long journeys without that range anxiety.
So it's like they're building a roadmap
Exactly.
for electric car travel.
Yeah, no more worrying about getting stuck in the middle of nowhere with a dead battery.
Exactly. You got it.
They're creating this charging infrastructure that's kind of like the existing network of gas stations we have.
Okay.
Making that switch to electric vehicles smoother and more appealing to people.
Okay, I have to ask, what about the people who live in cities?
Yeah.
Or the people who don't regularly take long road trips?
Right.
Are superchargers only for those hitting the open road?
Not necessarily. While superchargers are definitely strategically placed for long-distance travel,
makes sense.
Tesla's also expanding their network into urban areas.
Oh, okay, cool.
Installing stations and convenience spots.
Okay.
Like shopping malls, restaurants, parking garages, things like that.
So even if you're mostly using your Tesla for city driving, you can still benefit from the convenience of superchargers.
For sure. It's all about making electric vehicle ownership more practical and accessible for everyone.
I like it.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked about the speed of these superchargers.
Right.
But let's get down to brass tacks here.
Okay.
How long does it actually take to charge up?
Yeah.
And are there like different types of superchargers out there?
There are different types of superchargers.
Okay.
Those can affect the charging time.
Okay.
So we have V2 superchargers.
Okay.
Those can deliver up to 150 kilowatts of power.
All right.
Which means you can get to that 80% charge.
Okay.
In about 45 minutes. It's not bad. But then we also have V3 superchargers.
Okay.
And those can pump out a whopping 250 kilowatts.
Wow.
Which shaves that charging time down to around 30 minutes.
Wow, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's really impressive.
It is.
I'm guessing that's where the whole grabbing lunch while you charge thing comes in.
It's really changing people's perception.
Right.
Of how long it takes to refuel an electric car.
Exactly. All right. So I'm starting to see why people are so excited about these superchargers.
Right.
But we've got to talk about the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Cost.
Mm-hmm.
How much does it actually cost to juice up at one of these stations?
That's a very common question.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. People are used to paying a certain amount for gas.
Right.
And they want to know how that compares.
Exactly. So spill the beans. What's the damage to my wallet?
Well, like most things, it depends.
Okay.
The cost of supercharging can vary depending on the location and the pricing model in that area.
Right.
Some areas charge per kilowatt hour, which is basically a measure of energy used, while others use time-based pricing.
Okay. So it's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Yeah, it's not.
But can you give me a ballpark figure?
Sure.
Like, what's a typical price range for a full charge?
Based on what we're seeing, a full charge usually costs somewhere between $10 and $15, depending on your battery size and the local pricing.
That's not bad at all.
No.
Especially compared to what I'm used to paying to fill up my gas guzzler.
Exactly. And as the technology keeps getting better and we see more competition in the EV charging market, we can expect those costs to become even more competitive.
Awesome. All right. So we've got speed, convenience, and reasonable costs.
It's looking good.
This is starting to sound pretty good.
Yeah.
But are there any downsides or things people should watch out for when using superchargers?
There are a few things to keep in mind.
Okay.
Like the actual charging speed can vary depending on a few things, like your battery's temperature and its state of charge.
Okay, so it's not always going to be a perfect 30-minute charge.
Not always.
Are there any other potential snags?
Well, like with any popular service, you might run into some queues during peak hours at those busy supercharger stations.
Makes sense.
And of course, superchargers right now are only for Tesla vehicles.
Right.
So if you're driving another brand of EV, you're out of luck.
Good points. So it's essential to plan ahead and be aware of these potential hiccups.
For sure.
But let's talk about how to make the most of the supercharger experience.
Okay.
Are there any tips or tricks people can use to maximize their charging speed and efficiency?
Absolutely. There are definitely things you can do to optimize your charging experience.
Awesome.
One of the most important things is to precondition your battery.
Okay, preconditioning.
Yes.
That sounds important.
It is.
But I have to admit, I'm not entirely sure what that means.
Of course.
Can you break it down for me?
Yeah, essentially preconditioning means getting your battery to the optimal temperature for charging. And you can do this by setting your destination in the navigation system.
Gotcha.
Before you head to the supercharger.
So the car knows it's about to get a charge.
Exactly. And starts getting the battery ready by either warming up or cooling down the battery beforehand. You can significantly reduce the time it takes to charge.
Wow.
It's all about getting those electrons flowing as efficiently as possible.
That's a great tip.
Thanks.
Any other insider secrets?
Let's see.
You can share to help us avoid those charging pitfalls.
Well, avoiding peak hours at busy stations can also save you some time.
Makes sense.
And keeping your car's software updated is super important. Because Tesla's constantly releasing updates that include charging optimizations.
So plan ahead. Avoid the crowds and keep your software up to date.
Exactly.
Got it. I'm feeling more confident about this whole supercharging thing already.
You should. It's really not as complicated as it might seem at first.
Okay.
And once you get the hang of it, it's a breeze.
I think that's a good place to pause for now.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground. From the basics of what superchargers are to some practical tips for using them effectively.
Yeah, but we've only scratched the surface of this topic.
I know. I'm excited to keep going.
Me too.
Welcome back.
It's good to be back.
Last time we really dug into the nitty-gritty of Tesla Superchargers.
We did.
Like what they are, how they work, and why they're such a game changer for EV owners.
For sure.
We even uncovered some handy tips to maximize your charging experience.
We did. We covered a lot.
Right.
Establishing that superchargers offer some real perks when it comes to speed and convenience and even cost effectiveness.
For sure. But we also kind of hinted at something pretty exciting.
We did.
The future of this whole thing.
The future, yeah.
We teased some advancements that could really take superchargers to a whole new level.
Absolutely.
So let's shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
And dive into what's on the horizon.
All right.
What's brewing in the world of supercharging?
Well, for starters, Tesla's about to roll out their V4 Superchargers.
Ooh, okay.
And these aren't just a little upgrade. This is a big jump in charging technology.
I'm intrigued. We briefly talked about V4 before.
We did.
But what makes them so special?
Yeah. What kind of improvements are we talking about?
Right.
Well, V4 Superchargers are designed to deliver even faster charging speeds.
Okay. Even faster.
And more power than previous versions.
Wow.
Now, the exact specs are still kind of secret, but the word on the street is they could offer charging speeds up to 350 kilowatts.
Whoa, 350 kilowatts.
Yeah.
That's a serious jump from the 250
it is
that we see with the V3 Superchargers.
Big time.
So what does that mean in real-world terms?
Right.
How much faster are charging pit stops going to be?
Think of it this way.
Okay.
You might be able to grab a coffee and a pastry. And come back to a fully charged car.
Wow, that's amazing.
Road trips are about to get a whole lot more efficient.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's not just about raw power with these V4 Superchargers.
You're right. It's not just about speed.
Okay.
They're also rumored to have longer charging cables.
Oh, that's nice.
Which would be a game changer for people who have those hard-to-reach charging ports.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, it's those little details.
Right.
That make a big difference in the overall experience.
For sure. What else is in store with V4?
Well, one of the big upgrades is a higher voltage architecture.
Okay.
Which means the energy transfer from the supercharger to your car's battery is going to be more efficient.
Okay.
Which could potentially cut down those charging times even further.
So it's not just about brute force power.
It's not.
It's about optimizing the whole charging process.
Exactly.
For maximum efficiency.
Yep. Tesla's thinking ahead.
They are. And they're not just focused on improving the technology itself.
Right.
They're also really committed to expanding that supercharger network.
Oh, yeah.
At an impressive rate.
Absolutely.
That's music to my ears.
Yeah.
The more superchargers out there,
right,
the more accessible and convenient long-distance electric travel becomes.
It does.
What's the strategy behind this expansion?
They're focusing on increasing the density of supercharger stations.
Okay.
Especially in high-traffic areas.
Makes sense.
And along popular travel routes.
So those cross-country road trips are about to get even smoother.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I love it. But I have to ask.
Yeah.
With the growing popularity of electric vehicles, won't these supercharger stations just become overcrowded?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
But Tesla's thinking ahead by exploring some new approaches to network expansion.
Okay, like what?
Like partnering with businesses and property owners to host supercharger stations.
Interesting.
Imagine pulling up to your favorite restaurant.
Okay.
Or a shopping mall.
Right.
And being able to charge your car while you're eating or shopping.
Now you're talking, that's a great way to make charging even more accessible and integrated into our daily lives.
Exactly. It's like they're weaving charging into the fabric of our world.
I love that.
It's a win-win
for
Tesla, their customers, and the businesses involved.
For sure. Okay, so we've got faster charging speeds, more extensive network, and this clever integration with existing infrastructure.
It's all coming together.
Tesla's serious about shaping the future of supercharging.
Oh, yeah, they are.
But what are some of those like futuristic technologies that we keep hearing about?
Yeah.
Like, what about those out there ideas?
Well, one of the most talked about concepts is vehicle-to-grid technology.
V2G.
V2G.
Yeah. That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It does, doesn't it?
Can you break it down for me?
Imagine a world where your electric car could not only draw energy from the grid to charge up, but also send energy back to the grid when it's needed.
So your car could basically become a mobile power source.
Exactly, like a little mini power plant on wheels.
Yeah, it's incredible.
That is a really cool concept.
So your Tesla could help stabilize the grid during those times of like peak demand.
Exactly.
Provide backup power during outages. And you could even like make money.
Potentially.
Of selling that excess energy back to the grid.
It's possible.
Okay, that is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
It's like turning your car into a superhero.
A superhero of the energy world.
Of the energy world. I love it. But how far off is this technology?
Yeah, is it something we'll see anytime soon?
Right.
It's still early days for V2G.
Okay.
But Tesla has said they're interested in exploring it.
Cool.
It would definitely take some pretty sophisticated software and hardware to make it work.
Right.
But the possibilities are really exciting.
So one day, our cars could not only get us where we need to go, but also help power our homes and communities.
It's a really cool thought.
That's amazing. That's a game changer.
It is.
All right, so we've covered a lot here.
We have.
From the upcoming V4 Superchargers to this mind-bending potential of V2G.
Absolutely.
But let's zoom out for a minute.
Okay.
So what's the bigger picture here?
Yeah.
How are all these supercharger advancements impacting the electric vehicle landscape?
I think it's having a ripple effect throughout the whole industry. Tesla's commitment to supercharging has set a high bar for charging infrastructure. It's pushing other car companies to step up their game and invest in faster and more convenient charging solutions.
So it's like Tesla's leading the charge here.
They are.
Paving the way for a future where electric vehicles aren't just an alternative, but the norm.
Exactly. And as superchargers become even faster, more widespread, and more technologically advanced, they're making electric vehicles more appealing. And practical for like everyday people.
It's like this snowball effect.
It is.
The more people embrace EVs, the more demand there will be for charging.
Exactly.
And the more companies will invest.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not just the car companies. Governments and energy providers are getting involved too. Investing in public charging networks. And developing policies to support that switch to electric cars.
It's amazing to see how this movement is gaining so much momentum.
It is.
But it's important to remember that technology is only part of the story. What about the human side of this?
Yeah, how are these advancements affecting the lives of everyday EV owners?
Exactly.
Well, on a practical level, these advancements are making it easier than ever to own and drive an electric car.
For sure.
Range anxiety is becoming a thing of the past.
I love that.
And long road trips aren't such a logistical nightmare anymore.
Right, and it's not just about the practicality. It's about the freedom and flexibility that comes with knowing you can charge your car quickly and easily.
Wherever you go.
Wherever you go.
Exactly. For a lot of EV owners, it's also about feeling like they're part of a movement. Like a shift towards a more sustainable and environmentally friendly way of life.
So it's more than just a technological advancement.
It is.
It's a cultural shift.
Yeah. It's about changing how we think about transportation and our relationship with energy.
You nailed it. That's what makes this whole conversation so fascinating.
I agree.
It's not just about wires and kilowatts. It's about the potential to like transform our world.
I love that.
For the better.
For sure.
Well said. Okay. I think that's a good place to pause. And recharge our own batteries, so to speak.
I like that.
We've explored the exciting future of superchargers.
We have.
From V4 advancements to the crazy possibilities of V2G.
That's a lot to take in.
And we've talked about how these advancements are impacting the electric vehicle market and society as a whole.
It's a big deal.
In the final part of our deep dive, we'll bring it all together.
Sounds good.
We'll distill the key takeaways.
All right.
And leave you with some thought-provoking questions to ponder.
Ooh, I like it.
As you continue your electric vehicle journey.
The journey continues.
So stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the final part of our Tesla Supercharger deep dive.
It's been a great deep dive, hasn't it?
It really has. We've covered a lot of ground,
Yeah.
from those inner workings of these charging stations.
Right.
To that constantly expanding supercharger network.
Absolutely. It's been a journey.
It has been a journey.
Yeah.
Now it's time to bring it all together.
Okay.
What are the biggest takeaways from all of this?
For me, it boils down to this.
Yep.
Tesla Superchargers have revolutionized the way we think about electric vehicles.
Okay.
They've transformed them from city-bound commuters into vehicles that can handle long-distance travel.
Right.
Without that constant worry of running out of juice.
Exactly. They basically eliminated that range anxiety.
Yeah.
That used to be a huge barrier for people thinking about getting an EV.
For sure.
No more wondering if you'll make it to your destination or frantically searching for a place to plug in.
Exactly.
What is it about superchargers specifically that makes them so effective?
It's more than just the tech itself.
Okay.
It's the whole ecosystem that Tesla's built around it.
Right.
That strategic placement of the charging stations. Yes. The seamless integration with the Tesla app, the user-friendly interface.
Makes sense.
All of that contributes to a really smooth and enjoyable charging experience.
I see what you mean. They've taken a holistic approach.
Yeah.
Considering every aspect of that charging process.
Right.
To make it as convenient and hassle-free as possible.
Exactly. It's not just about plugging in.
Right.
It's about creating an experience that really works for EV owners.
Precisely. And let's not forget Tesla's dedication to innovation.
Oh, yeah.
With every new generation of superchargers.
Right.
They're pushing the limits of what's possible.
Absolutely.
Making charging faster, more efficient, and more accessible.
It's pretty remarkable.
Okay. We've established that superchargers are pretty awesome.
Yeah, they are.
But let's get specific.
Okay.
What are some of the key benefits?
Yeah, what sets them apart?
That really set them apart from other charging options out there?
Well, speed is a major one.
Okay.
Superchargers offer much faster charging speeds.
Right.
Compared to your average home charger.
Right.
Or even those public level 2 charge stations you see popping up everywhere.
Makes sense.
This means less time stuck at a charging station.
Right.
And more time out there exploring.
Exactly. I've heard stories of people grabbing a quick bite or a coffee while their car is charging.
Yeah.
And coming back to a practically full battery.
It's great.
That's a game changer.
It is.
Especially for people who are always on the go.
Absolutely. And that huge supercharger network is a big plus, too.
Yeah.
Thousands of stations all over the globe.
Strategically located.
So you can confidently go on those long trips.
Right.
Knowing you'll have a charging option when you need it.
That's great. It's like having a safety net.
Yeah, exactly.
For your electric adventures.
No more meticulously planning your route around charging stations.
Or worrying about getting stranded.
Right.
But what about the cost, though?
Yeah.
Is it actually affordable?
Right.
To charge up at a supercharger?
Yeah. Is it going to break the bank?
Or is it going to break the bank?
Well, the cost can vary.
Okay.
Depending on where you are.
Right.
And the pricing model.
Okay.
But generally, supercharging is cheaper than filling up your gas tank.
Okay.
Especially with those crazy gas prices lately.
That's really good to hear.
Yeah. And as battery tech keeps improving, and we see more competition in the EV charging market, those costs are only going to get better.
It's a win-win.
It is a win for our wallets.
Yeah.
And a win for the environment.
For sure. All right. So we've covered the good stuff.
The upsides.
But let's be real. Are there any downsides?
Yeah. Are there any limitations?
To superchargers.
Well, one thing to remember is they're only for Tesla vehicles right now.
Right.
So if you're driving another brand of EV, you can't use them.
That's a good point. And while Tesla has mentioned maybe opening up their network to other EVs in the future, we'll have to see how that actually plays out.
Yeah. It's definitely something to think about.
Right.
If you're shopping for an electric car.
For sure.
Yeah.
Any other potential drawbacks?
Well, even with the convenience of superchargers, it's still a good idea to plan your trips.
Right.
And be mindful of those peak hours.
That's when those stations are busy.
And like any tech,
yeah,
there's always a chance of running into glitches or issues.
Of course.
Although Tesla's always working on improving reliability and fixing any problems.
So it's good to have a backup plan.
Always good to be prepared.
And be prepared for those unexpected things.
Exactly.
That might pop up.
Right.
But overall, it seems like the advantages of superchargers really outweigh any potential downsides.
I think so, too.
They've been a game changer for the EV market.
They have.
Making electric vehicles more appealing and accessible than ever.
For sure, paving the way for a future.
Right.
Where electric cars are the standard.
Exactly. And with all those advancements on the horizon.
Yeah.
Like those V4 superchargers.
Yeah.
And that potential of V2G.
That's going to be huge.
The future of electric mobility looks pretty bright.
I think so, too.
It's a really exciting time to be witnessing this shift.
Absolutely.
Towards a more sustainable and advanced transportation system.
It's a big shift.
But before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about.
Okay.
We've seen how superchargers have totally transformed the EV landscape, making long-distance travel a reality.
Right.
And we've talked about all those amazing advancements.
Right, those game changers.
That could revolutionize the way we charge and interact with our cars.
Yeah, it's really mind-blowing.
So here's the question.
Okay.
How do you think these advancements, combined with the fact that electric vehicles are becoming more and more popular, how is that going to impact the future of transportation and our relationship with energy in the long run?
That's a great question.
It is a big question.
Yeah, I mean, we could see a future where gas stations are a thing of the past.
Right.
Replaced by these sleek and efficient charging stations.
Right.
Powered by renewable energy.
It's a cool thought.
Yeah. And imagine a world where our cars aren't just for transportation, but they're mobile energy storage units powering our homes and communities.
That's amazing.
The possibilities are endless.
They are.
And it's up to us
to
create the future we want to see.
Well said. And as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Tesla Superchargers, we encourage you to stay curious, to embrace those innovations, and think about the role you can play.
Absolutely.
In shaping the future of transportation.
Because it's a journey.
It is a journey.
That's just beginning.
We can't wait to see where it takes us.
Me neither. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
And we'll see you next time.